Hey guys, I want to do a video on how to buy some real estate, rental properties, my experience with buying a rental property, the reason I chose what I chose, why I chose what I chose, and now having, owned a rental property for, I don't know, 6, 10, I guess longer than that, 8, 9 months, kind of the real costs, things like that. Just gonna give you a breakdown of what to expect, the tools that I used, and why. I got more requests for rental property stuff than anything else. So first, I'm just a regular dude. And I am not a real estate investing professional. I'm not a guru. I'm not selling you a stupid course. The advice is as good as it costs, which is free. So I'll just tell you, I was looking for, there's really 3 things that you're looking for if you're getting into real estate or trying to find a rental property. You want appreciation, which is just the value of the house going up over time. You want cash flow, which is obvious. You're getting money from the tenants, which is potentially paying off the debt if you carry a debt, or it's just cash flow. Cash flow is awesome. If you watch Shark Tank, one of the sharks talks a lot about cash flow being king, Mr. Wonderful, and then there's tax savings. Those are the 3 main things for most: appreciation, tax savings, cash flow. It provides you all of those things if done correctly. So my experience was I wanted a market that gave me, you either get kind of one or the other, heavily in terms of cash flow and appreciation. If you get great cash flow, it's likely in a crappy market where your appreciation is going to be lower. This is a general statement. If you're looking for a place that gives you great appreciation, California, probably the greatest of all time in terms of getting, values going up and up and up. Cash flow, you're probably not going to cash flow in California unless you put in a very, very substantial amount of money down. So kind of the reason that I bought the rental property was to kind of back up to last year. As a lot of you guys know, I like cars, and in fact, it's all I think about most of every day is cars and arm wrestling, strangely enough. But while I owned a Porsche GT3 RS, the 911 GT3 RS, and at the time I don't drive it a bunch. I just like knowing that I have it. It sits in the garage, I look at it, I stare at it, I drive it. On the weekends, I'm afraid to put miles on it because if you put miles on it, it's going down in value. So I thought I need to make wise financial decisions. I'm not rich enough to justify owning a $250,000 or $300,000 car without the fear of depreciation. When I get to the point where I'm rich enough to where I can buy a $300,000 car and actually drive it every single day and not really care about it, I'm going to buy another one. I wasn't at that point yet. So what I did was I said, long story short, someone just messaged me and said, hey, I want to buy your car. And so all these thoughts hit my head where I was like, it's probably not a bad idea. So I sold my car. And I took that money and bought a house, and I just paid cash for the house. That was my scenario. And there, you could argue getting debt on it is smarter, better, whatever. You can buy more house for sure if you take out debt. I'm very risk averse. I don't want piles of debt because that's how you can get yourself into some major trouble, especially if tenants don't pay. So yes, there's advantages to both scenarios. I'll just tell you what I did. So I found a market that had good cash flow and probably low appreciation. The market I bought in was South Bend, Indiana. I have a lot of time, I guess, more than most people are at work all day, where I'm usually at home like scrolling Instagram and Auto Trader and Zillow. I love Zillow, coolest tool of all time. Realtors listening, I know you hate it, I don't care. So I get on Zillow and I just start searching areas, random places. I know in expensive markets, I'm probably not gonna wanna buy some, $1 million, $2 million property in California right now and hope that the tenant pays and get debt on it. That was not my plan. I wanted something that was a little bit safer, just kind of ease my way into it to make me a believer. I always have talked myself out of buying real estate. Every time I've bought a home, I thought it was the worst time ever. And every time I was wrong, it kept getting better. That's kind of when I finally realized that, I thought, you can't really lose. So, or at least I haven't lost yet. And if you keep it long enough, you won't lose because it will always increase. So I searched Zillow nonstop every day, several hours every single day. I would just click on a state, go to Oklahoma, go to Mississippi, go to South Carolina, and just type in. And then I would narrow that search down. I'd put in, okay, I know for my experience at least, I wanted a 3-bed, 2-bath, because that's like the most common. You're gonna increase your odds of finding a tenant. So I wanted 3-bed, 2-bath, reasonably priced, and there's something called the 1% rule that I definitely wanted to follow. And what that 1% rule is basically if you can rent the place out for 1% of your purchase price, that means you're getting really good cash flow. It's a 12% return. So 1% per year is 12 months in a year. It's pretty simple math. If I can make 12% on my money, it's similar or better than just about anything out there. And there's more freedom. You can get this type of money in your 401ks and IRAs and investment accounts, but it's locked up. So I like to have, this is called diversification. Have obviously those accounts as well that are making me money, but I don't really have access to them unless I wanted to take debt out on them and have penalties and fees and nonsense, and I don't really want to do that. So I wanted something else that would make me some money. So narrowed it down. I found lots of places in South Bend, Indiana that had a purchase price, for example, of 200 grand, and it said on Zillow, and I just trusted Zillow's info, scroll down to the bottom of the listing and it'll give you, not only will it give you like the Zestimate, which is the Zillow's estimate of value, it gives you the rent Zestimate as well. And if it said, okay, this house was 200 grand and the rent Zestimate was roughly 2,000 a month, I knew that was a winner. Not all of them fell into that category. I scrolled through, found lots of scrolling on Zillow. I found a realtor. I hired the realtor, told them my parameters. They send you stuff. I've still never bought anything from what a realtor sent me. I've always just found it on Zillow, which is why I'm still a huge fan of Zillow. So I find the home that I want. And price-wise, it seemed very reasonable. It was listed at 179 grand, which if you're living in California, that's like your driveway. So I thought 179 grand. I've owned a lot of cars that cost more than 179 grand. That seems crazy that you can buy a house for that. So I contacted the realtor when I found the property, said, hey, can you walk this one? See if it's gonna work, see what you think. And she did, she was on it, great realtor. She looks at the property and I asked her, I said, hey, I wanna buy this. What's a reasonable offer? Of course, I'm gonna offer less than the asking price because I wanna get a deal, and that's half of the battle, is making sure you have a good buy. So in my mind, I thought if it's 179, 170 to me is kind of where I wanted to be for the numbers to make sense. And I asked my realtor what she thought, and she's like, it's not worth 170. I would offer him 150, which is so the opposite of most realtors. They just want to get you, they want to make a super reasonable offer that closes so they get paid. That's like everyone, which helped me realize I found an actual good realtor because she wants to fight for it, and I like that. So she said offer him 155. I'm like, all right, cool, go for it. So offered 155, they countered back. I think the counter was like 170. And I thought, I'm already at where I wanted to finish. So we're good for sure. So we countered back again at 160, I believe. And then they countered back. We ended up settling on $162,500. So I thought, killer, I got it $7,500 less than what I actually was willing to pay for it, which was awesome. The house had minimal repairs. So keep in mind, I live in Southern California. This house is in Indiana. That is a long ways away. I've heard lots of people say never get, a piece of property far away because managing it from afar is a disaster and it could screw you over. And maybe that's right. It's been wrong for my experience. I initially planned also on getting a property management company, and after calling several property management companies in South Bend, I was not impressed at all. They typically take 10% of your rent income, which is reasonable, and then they handle all the calls and the repairs and all that, and then you pay for those repairs. Every person I spoke to didn't seem like people that I felt comfortable being in business with. And I thought, how hard is it to manage it from afar? Well, I'll find out. And if it gets really crappy, I'll switch it up and use someone that I think is crappy at this. But I didn't do that. So got the house for $162. After getting the house, closing on it, I wire the money, buy the house. I have never been there. I've never even been to Indiana at that time. So I did my due diligence. I got an appraisal. I got inspections, did all that type of stuff because I think it's wise. It's not that expensive, $500-600 to get an appraisal. I didn't need one because I'm paying cash. You only need that stuff if you're financing. And then the inspection portion, I wanted to make sure the house was in decent shape. So did the inspection, found out a few different flaws, a few different things, and most of them were things that I could fix on my own. So what I did was we just negotiated a seller's credit. Said, hey, we got the inspection back. We got some estimates. It's gonna be, $3,000-4,000 to fix this stuff. If you want us to close, fix this stuff or give us a seller's credit. They said, we'll do a seller's credit. So I ended up, after the credit, I think the actual amount that I ended up having to pay was $157,000, which is killer. So I had things that I needed to fix. I'm pretty handy, so I don't know if you're handy or not, but I'm pretty handy. I got an enormous suitcase. I went to my garage, got all of the tools I thought would be important to basically fix the house and get it rent ready. So I took all the photos off of Zillow because I knew once it closed that those photos would not exist, and I liked them. There was already furniture in there. It looked decent. So I saved all the photos on my computer. And then what I did was I loaded up my suitcase, packed up all my tools, got a hotel, flew to Chicago actually. It was like the cheapest, closest airport. Flew to Chicago, rented a truck, threw my tools in my truck and went and looked at my property. I spent a few days there. I stayed in a hotel and I just went to the property daily, fixed whatever was needing to be fixed. Nothing was too crazy. Garage door needed to be fixed. There was some of the doors were never hung, which is weird. Hung the doors, lots of little things that were just kind of tedious that if they would have just done these things, they probably could have got a lot more money out of the house, but they didn't. So I did the little stuff, couple of electrical problems, couple of light switch errors, stuff that I knew how to do because I used to be an electrician. So, and I just checked my tools as a checked bag, so you can put 50 pounds of crap in a checked bag. So I've got all this luggage, backpack, cordless drill, hammer, all this crap. So get there, fix the house, and during that fix, I also had I'd listed the house on Zillow for rent. And when I listed the house on Zillow, they make it super easy. That portion was the coolest part. Zillow does all of they can make a rental agreement for you. And all of this is free. It's the coolest thing ever. They can run credit for you. They can manage the money coming in. If you want to use their service, you can actually have your tenants pay through Zillow's app, which is pretty cool. I don't choose to do it that way personally, but that's one thing that you could do. And so they made it extra easy on me. So while I was there for those few days, I had like 40 applications to rent the place. So I was just narrowing down who I wanted to put in the place. And that's the most important aspect in this is buy a good house at a good deal and get good tenants. This is another kind of plays into having no debt. So if I had a mortgage on this place and I'm like, I got to make this payment, I need to fill the place really quick, I might not be as patient in getting a good tenant because I'm motivated by making that payment. If I don't have a payment and I don't have a tenant, I don't really care. Kind of care, not as much. So that was my theory behind that. And I ended up narrowing it down. Kind of got between two or three people that I wanted to fill the space. One of them was dodgy and didn't want to meet in person. And I did some more digging. I Facebooked them, Instagram, Googled their name, looked at their credit report, looked at their background, and kind of determined this was a dude I didn't want in my house. So you got to do your due diligence on that side. The two other people that I was narrowing down, it was really difficult to make the decision because one of them was relocating from Vegas to Indiana and was willing to pay me the entire year's worth of rent up front right then. Just, I'll wire you over the money. And I thought, dang, I could take that money, throw it in a high yield savings, make 5.5% on the money, and really get 13 months worth of profit in 12 months and get it right now. And I ended up choosing someone else, not that scenario. And the only reason for that was I was afraid if I got all of your money up front, first, who pays all up front? People in bad situations and people that are bad with money. That's really the only options. They pay up front because they likely don't have a job and they know that nobody's gonna let them in unless they pay up front. And then my fear is after a year, they're in a new place without a job and now they don't have any money. So that was my determining factor on picking these two girls that were relocating from Michigan, had a job opportunity, like their work that they were working at also had a location in South Bend. So I thought they're trying to establish roots. They don't have any kids. They had a small little dog I was cool with. So I thought kids are going to do more damage than adults most of the time. And they're just, I thought this is a good fit. Luckily, I was right. They've been awesome. They've paid on time. They're awesome. To fast forward a little bit about some of the things that also take place and issues that take place. Yeah, houses break. This is an old house in an old area. I've had flooding. I've had issues with the sewer line going from the from the house to the street that I had to get repaired. Luckily, that was all free, strangely enough. In South Bend, they have sewer insurance that helped. I've had lots of little things here and there, but if your tenants are on top of it and they'll text me, hey, Dallas, this is what's going on. This thing happened, and I can just Google South Bend handyman, who can fix this, call them, set up a time, organize it, tell the tenants, hey, this is when dude's coming over to fix this. You don't have to be home. I have a lockbox, like a realtor's lockbox. I bought it off Amazon. I throw it on the gas meter. It has a passcode and spare keys. So if I ever need to have access to the property or if I need to send a maintenance person to the property, I can tell them exactly how to get in the house, which is good planning on my behalf because if they had to be there and they're at work all day, it's going to be hard to manage that. So that's my experience with buying my first rental. I am actively looking at buying another, and I am very tempted to buying in a more expensive area with less cash flow, but much more appreciation. There's pros and cons to each of those scenarios, but that's what I'm currently looking at. I would love to buy more in South Bend, and I still look there. But yeah, it's you kind of get one or the other, and the cash flow is cool, but I also like knowing that in 10 years, the appreciation in a different market is significantly better than any cash flow. So those are that's my input on a rental. Feel free to comment, ask questions. I'm happy to help with whatever questions you may have. But yeah, this stuff is interesting to me. If it's interesting to you and you have questions about it, feel free to hit me up. I'm happy to help. Thanks.